Hi, everybody. Hopefully you see me here on, yep, okay. So I am streaming through my Zoom account today, and welcome, Sylvia here, and hopefully you're able to join me. If you aren't, there's a lot of green over here, isn't it? I am using maybe I'll move this over. Using a different webcam. There we go. It's a little more centered. Awesome. There we go. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Okay. It's not doing what I want it to do. Oh. Okay. Just the camera on this is a little bit better than than the one. So sorry about that and welcome. So we're going to talk about counter surfing today, which is a really big topic that I get from many owners. How do I stop? How do I stop? I got to stop saying and it's about, when you've got a big dog, they can jump up higher, they can reach you. I'm going to watch for comments here. So if you're watching this on replay, #replay, if you have any questions about this, please enter that. I'm Sylvia with Walkabout Canine Consulting. This is my group, Dog Training and Behavior Community, and just sharing a little bit of knowledge here. If you have any questions as I go on, please enter them here. I do have a little presentation. And let's see if I can share it properly. It's always the question. Okay. Present. There we go. So hopefully you can see this. This is just taken from a group of Tuesday tips that myself and a bunch of other trainers put together. And again, I'm Sylvia Kozrzak, certified dog trainer and behavior consultant. So, like I say, this is a big problem. And there he's got the piece of bread. So is something that can be managed. It's something that you want to be really careful and share some of your tips. Hopefully they have been positive ones. I don't really like to share stuff that can spook dogs because that can go terribly wrong and can make them very suspicious of many different things because we don't know what they're thinking. But I'm going to show you some things that you want to think about doing. Dogs are opportunistic. They're scavengers. That's how they actually evolved as dogs. And they were basically once upon a time, a long time ago, they aren't anymore, but they were once upon a time a wolf. And as they evolved, they started hanging out close to our camps and started picking through our garbage and became opportunistic. And that is exactly how they are. I have to say we're probably, we can describe ourselves as opportunistic as well. So they are going to take advantage. So what can we do? Well, we can use management. For those of you that have watched any of my other things, that I've posted, either live, in groups, any training that you've done with me, is you want to use management. If you're not using management, then it's going to be very difficult, because management doesn't necessarily train our dogs, but it helps them from rehearsing anything. And I just see that this is going wonky. I'm going to fix this. There we go. And I apologize for that. Okay. Okay, hopefully you can see me now. And I'm going through Zoom, so this is very different and takes a little bit of expert coordination. So now I do need to bring my Zoom back. And then my share screen back. Which okay, here we go. Sorry about that. That was a little bit okay. So this is the kind of stuff that we want to avoid, right? And I get a lot of, how do I stop? How do I stop? How do I stop? So how about we set our dogs up so that they don't start some behaviors that we don't want them to. It's just like we are going to avoid setting our kids up to be addicted to sugar, and creating opportunities for perhaps candies not to be lying around for them to grab, and using our management. So especially when we have puppies and as they're growing, when we use management, so we have a great setup here where there is a puppy pen with a crate, puppies in a safe space. They're not given a huge space to make decisions that are not going to be helpful for them. Over here, we've got actually Anita, which you've seen on here with me before. This is her dog, and she's learning the wonders of being on a dog cot. She's got a snuffle mat here. And for those of you that have worked with me, I always show owners how wonderful boundaries are and how we can deliver all the good stuff to the boundary, so the dogs don't need to be looking for all the other stuff. So that's a really good thing to think about. And, you know, when you're tidying up in the kitchen, have your dog in another room, have the baby gate up. If you haven't finished doing your boundary training, or where you're building a really strong foundation for being on a mat, then, you know, use your management. I have my dog here on the right. She's actually on her boundary near the kitchen. So I do have mine near the kitchen. There's nothing wrong with that. Often it helps facilitate for your dog wanting to stay on the mat, because now they have visual of what you're doing and can be involved. All right. We can create an enrichment-rich life. So you want to look at counter surfing as scavenging. It's enrichment. They're jumping up, which young adolescent dogs, I find, typically really love to do. So you want to create that enrichment life. You've heard me talk about this many times. Both these pictures are of one of my dogs using their enrichment activity on their station or boundary that is in the kitchen. So management we can do with calming, passing activities, long-lasting chews, kongs, snuffle mats, puzzle feeders, yak chews, antlers, whatever you can come up with. You also want to do a lot of training. You want to do a lot of independent training. You want to teach them impulse control so that they're not jumping around and checking countertops off, tabletops, checking tabletops. You want to instill some impulse control with arousal up and arousal down, otherwise known as jazz it up, jazz it down, building a toggle switch, building a dimmer switch. And we also want to build tolerance of frustration when we are working with our dogs. So this all goes hand in hand with our dog's needs. So we want to think about teaching our dogs that it's a good deal to have 4 feet on the ground, okay? And actually reinforcing them for it, okay? Not reinforcing for 2 feet up. So you see on one side, that's not what you want to build, is the jumping up and just putting the feet up, but you want to build 4 on the floor. And so, like I say, this is a little bit of an older presentation. And this is my friend's Anita's dog and her doing training. I should have added, I've got a client who is a really bad jumper. It's actually a tiny dog. And maybe I'll show it another Tuesday and what we did to change that behavior. You really want to build strong behaviors of just lying on the boundary. Anita's acting like a fool here, working with Spraggan and, being a distraction. You see the picture of my 2 guys are on their stations that are in my kitchen. So I have a small house. So one side is the kitchen, the other side is where we eat. And lots of good stuff happen there. And they pretty much automatically station there. So when we come into the kitchen, there is a possibility of getting something, they just go there automatically. So when you have a multi-human household, there is always going to be some glitches where one person might be maybe teaching the dogs to beg a little bit. But if we show our dogs where they should be and maybe they'll get something, we'll go a lot further. Scatter feeding, which you've seen me talk about as well, is something that we can do. We can do this anywhere. We can do it in the grass. We can actually do it on the mat that we're training them to go on, okay? So that they are having that opportunity to forage. Because remember, counter surfing is essentially foraging. We hope that it never gets started, as just making contact with the counter can be reinforcement for the dog. Okay. If they're getting any reinforcement there, you will need to be careful about turning your dog into a gambler. You can grow manners around food, all right? Because often counter surfing does involve food. So you can do some food fiddling, impulse control, so that your dog learns that they don't grab things unless they hear the cue from you to get the treat. So, there's a lot of games that you can play with your dog. So here we've got Anita dripping food into the bowl, and Spraggan has to stay there and stay calm. And then if you do this for me, then you get that. This is mental stimulation. There's a lot of things going on here. You got relationship building, you got mental stimulation, you've got focus, you got impulse control. And so these are great little exercises to play. You don't want to nag, and you do want to let your dog win sometimes. So we've got Anita eating here. She's got her plate, as you can see, and her dog is waiting nice and patiently. Isn't nagging, isn't mugging, isn't trying to jump up and grab stuff. There is some payoff. And if you do not think that that's a good idea, that's okay. But it is good to give your dog some feedback for the activity that they're doing, which is just being nice and quiet and calm and waiting. We could push this scenario a little bit further and have Spraggan further back and in his bed. Okay. So these are just some ideas for you to do. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can upload the little video that I took of the dog it was a little dog who likes to be on his back feet, which can be typical for some dog breeds. Here's a little video of doing some anti-counter surfing work and strengthening the boundaries. Okay. So you've got, this is what counter surfing is. This is not what you want. Okay. This is not what you want. This is not what you want to teach your dog. So when they get paid, they've just learned a behavior that, yes, this is working for me, right? And it's not what we want. So we can set up an X pen in our kitchen if our dog is pretty vigilant, okay? We can clean up our house so that our dog is not getting into things, and good excuse. And then we can start training, okay? So we can start fiddling in the kitchen with our dog on a boundary, and then going every once in a while, and I do this. This is how I teach my dogs. I might be prepping, my dogs are on the mat, and then I go and they get reinforced for staying on there. So there is the X pen added to this. So in case, like I say, if you've got a persistent and vigilant dog, then that's a layer of management. And this dog has been nicely trained, and you can take that away. Maybe you need to put your dog into an X pen while you are prepping in the kitchen. Or if you're not in the kitchen and you're not supervising your dog, then you can, just want to get this forward. You can use management to get your dog where they're supposed to be. This is supposed to be forwarding. Let's see if I've gone through everything. Still Facebook Live, so anything can happen. I think this was the last one, but we'll see. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so if you have any questions about this, if you go to actually my Facebook page, my business page, it says learn more, and it does have a little bit, a tidbit for teaching a boundary. Okay. That is a really great foundation exercise for everything that you might do. It's an exercise I encourage my clients to do for just creating calmness, counter surfing, dogs jumping around on the kids in the living room in the evening. If they're on their boundary, they have something else to do. Visitors, okay? So it is really what you want your dogs to be focusing on. I don't see anybody on here, so it's a pretty quiet night, and that's okay. I'm just going to see if I can find and it doesn't take long when you show your dog what you want them to do instead. Okay. Okay. I can't find it. I did download it. Okay. So if you have any questions about this, please do ask, as because this is not hard to do. Clients that I've worked with who haven't followed through with this still struggle with it. And that's simply because they haven't worked on this behavior and had, I don't know, have no intention of doing it, have no intention of managing the dog, because our dogs are just going to do what comes naturally, what feels good to them. Like I say, they're pretty opportunistic. So they are definitely going to do what works for them. Okay, so I found what I am looking for, and I can share with you now. Sorry about that little brief interlude. So this dog, as you can see, is part. So you turn around at the counter and go back to her as fast as possible because she's still there. Okay, so here we're working. So this is a part poodle, and poodles love to be on their back feet because they were trained to be circus dogs a really long time ago. And that's often why you will see them in shows like on America's Got Talent, walking on their back legs because they're really good at it. So this is the 5-month-old puppy, and the dog jumping up. So can't get on counters, but front feet on the counter, and just doing this everywhere. Doing it to people. So we've practiced an exercise for that, but now we're doing the counter, and the dogs are really, really smart. So this dog figured it out. So we just focused on back to her as fast as possible because she's still there. Okay, so now we want to, so tap, 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 and go back quickly. She's still on that spot, because now we want to build that person. So we're just so she wants to stay there because the owner is going back. She's not waiting for her to fail. She's going back really quickly to give her the treat. So that's just a starting point of, working on this behavior. So, so if you have any questions about that, drop it in the chat. If you're watching on replay, this is a really beneficial skill to teach your dog. It's going to take you into every part of your training. It's a spot that your dog learns to magnetize towards. It's a spot that you can use to redirect your dog if you need to. If there's something going on and you don't know what to do, you can simply ask your dog to go to their spot. And that way, they know what they're supposed to do. Okay. And I can probably show you another one. I didn't even think of this. I totally forgot about working with this dog and working on exactly that with a little dog. So this really is a great example. Now I just need to find the second video that I got with this little one. 6, 8. Okay. So I am going to show you 6, 9, and I am going to pull up the second one. Sorry that this isn't as flowy as it should be, but and we don't need to say no. The dog is going to figure it out really well. And so, okay, so I'm going to share screen with, this is the first part actually of what I just showed you. And we're just working on building the value for that carpet square. So you see how this little dog is jumping up. That's not what we want. So before we did this, we were showing the dog where we wanted to go. So let's just wait her out. So we're just waiting her out to see if she's okay. So you see how she went back to, so she's coming, the owner distracted her a little bit. And started fooling around with the food on the counter. So she's just waiting. Good. And she did really, really good here. What we did before this is we just kept showing the dog where we wanted it to be, and then we gave it treats. So this was, you know, the second stage. And then what I showed you before was basically the third step, where the dog was just staying in the spot, because we don't want them to fail too much. I mean, here we okay. And then the owner was learning her timing as well. So she turned around, tap, tap, tap. So so the dog came over, she went back and to the carpet square, or the carpet corner. So you see little dogs can kind of counter surf too, but the owner doesn't want this, and this can become quite ingrained, especially with a dog where this is genetically programmed. So now we want to kind of not make the dog bounce back to the counter, but give them lots of treats while they're in the spot. Okay. So hopefully that's helpful. That's our half hour, and I hope this counter surfing has given you some ideas. And please let me know if you are rewatching this. I will see you next week, and I hope you have a safe week and a happy week. And I will post what my next topic will be. If there's something that you want to see, please comment and let me know. Hopefully you're having fun tonight. I know Christmas festivities have started, and everybody stay safe and have a great night.